Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. This is the Burma Nation. Oops, I went too far, I think. Yeah. Here we go. So we're talking about 8-2. We're talking about multiplying polynomials together. We're going to be multiplying a monomial times a polynomial. We're going to be using the distributive property to make all this stuff work. This should be a fairly easy idea. We're going to use some of the things we learned from our 7-1, 7-2, 7-4 stuff, and then we'll be able to make it all happen. We'll even use stuff from 8-1. All right, so let's check it out. All we got to do here, folks, is just distribute. So if you recall from our earlier lessons, when we distribute, the thing on the outside gets multiplied to all pieces on the inside. And when we distribute with exponents, we add, or when we multiply with exponents, we add. So this is a 6y to the first times a 4y to the third, which gets me a 24y to the third. I'm sorry, I said y to the third. I should have said y to the second. So this y to the first, y to the second adds together to make y to the third. Now the next one is 6 times 9, which gets us that negative 54. And then we have our y to the first times our y to the first again. Let's just confirm that's to the first. Good. It gets us to y to the second because we add our exponents. And then the last one is a 6 times a negative 7, which gets us that negative 42. And then y times no other y's just gets us with leftover y. Now you'd want to put your answers in standard form, which means you're going to have them in greatest to least degree of each individual monomial. This is a trinomial like we learned about in previous lessons. All right, so when we're dealing with this example 2, you'll notice that we've extended some of our information from previous lessons into this specific example. So I'm going to go, let's go green. That looks kind of cool. We're going to have to distribute to both of our problems, and then we can add them together. So I'm going to distribute for the first one. That's going to get me my 6t to the second because 3 times a 2t to the second. And then a 3 times a negative 4t gets us to a negative 12t. And then a 3 times a negative 15 gets us to a negative 45. Now on my next one, same distributing stuff. A 6t times a 5t gets us to a 30t to the second power, and I'm going to put it directly underneath the other one that is also a t to the second power. That way we can combine them later because we're adding these two polynomials together. So then we have a 6t times the 2, which gets us a positive 12t. And because we're adding these two things together, the open spot is just like having a 0. So we combine them, we get our 36t to the seconds. And those are opposite of each other, so they just cancel, and we have a minus 45. And this would be the official answer in simplified form. So that's what we got so far here, folks. We're going to try another one. Could it get harder? Yeah, this is about as hard as we got for today. We're going to, again, distribute. Remember, you only multiply to things inside the parentheses. So this turns into a 12b plus a b squared minus 7, and then the other one we're going to distribute the b again, and we're going to have, I'm going to move this whole thing down here because my face is going to be in the way otherwise, and that's going to be equal to, we're making an equation out of this, equal to 2b, so I'm just carrying this thing over, and then when we distribute we're left with a negative 4b from this math right here, and a positive b to the second, because a b times another b makes another b to the second. And when we solve this, this is what we kind of did before. We're going to get all the things onto one side. We're just going to make it equal to 0. So we're going to combine all of our stuff over here by subtracting b to the second on both sides. So then these are going to cancel because a positive b and a negative b to the second makes 0 b's to the second. And we can combine these over here to make ourselves a negative 2b. So right now we have 12b, we have a minus 7, we have a minus 2b, and that's what our math is so far. If we get all of our b's onto one side, we're going to do a plus a 2b and plus a 7 to make this stuff all by itself. And so those cancel and those cancel. I got to get a plus 7 over here too. So we end up with a 14b's is equal to a 7. And then we will divide by a 14. Divide by 14. And you'll notice that b is then equal to 1/2. And if we were to plug that back into the equation, we'd be able to say, yeah, that's true. If I put a half into this stuff, we would make sure that everything would still equal each other. So you can see that this is useful with, we combine, this is like a chapter 2, chapter 5 kind of thinking. So the same kind of processes are going to continue to be coming back for us, folks. So that's what multiplying a monomial times a polynomial all looks like. You're just going to distribute and then use the rules from previous lessons. All right, folks, this is the Burma Nation. We're signing off. Peace out.